I'm Ian Exton, I'm the network manager at WWF. They generally don't let me out the server room, but I stand here before you I did this presentation 2 months ago, and it was the day before we were about to go live with VMCD. And I was a lot more nervous then than I am now. But it all went well, as I'll say in a moment. WWF's 50 years old this year, and scarily I've been there for 40% of that. And a lot has changed over that time. The reason for the video there is that WWF tries to get people to work in harmony with nature, and we are trying to reduce our impact on the environment. Virtualisation, as we'll see, is a very good way of doing that. We actually support the increasing use of IT. You think power-consuming, horrible sort of IT stuff, but we like it because better IT means you don't travel. It means you don't have an impact on the environment through a variety of things. And we can reduce people's travel into work, in fact, with just looking at ways in which our own staff can start to work from home and can get the experience that they get at work out of their home environment. So we support the increase in the use of IT to reduce emissions. Give you a little bit of an idea of the size and shape of organisation you're looking at here. WWF worldwide is about 4,000 people. UK is my bit, and we've got 5 offices around the UK, devolved ones that work with devolved governments. We're based in Godalming in Surrey, and so 340 staff and 260 are in that head office. So get a rough idea of the number of people providing stuff to. And typical MS Exchange, SQL, Citrix, some financials, that sort of stuff. I'm proud to say that we're ahead of the game, not only in the charity sector, but business in general in getting into virtualization. We're now fully virtual. We don't possess a single piece of tin that does only one purpose. And we've been like that for over a year now. We have a 4-server farm in our Godalming office, and we've steadily moved things across into we moved the last application last year. This year we replaced our Mitel 3300 controllers with VMCD, so they've gone onto the server farm as well. And that's quite a scary thing. Can you imagine that every time you pick up the phone you're talking through a box that could be on any one piece of tin that you've got in the computer room? That freaked us out a bit. It took us quite a while to get over that. And what we're doing this year is we're virtualising our workstations as well. So we've got a pilot in place to do virtual desktop infrastructure, and we should have completed that by the end of the year. And we've got a new office in a couple of years, by which time we should be thin client on everybody's desk. I'm sure you've been done to death on server virtualization, so I'll skim through what we've done and why we did it. A lot of this has been said already. We have less tin, and I'll show you how in a second. We have substantially reduced costs because we're not maintaining that tin, we're not replacing it or anything. We've got much increased flexibility, and we have very much faster server provisioning. I have 2 people running all of this, and they can knock out a server in about 20 minutes from scratch. It's very impressive. And it's, of course, very, very resilient. But the most important thing about all of this is because there's less of this and there's less power and everything, there's substantially less CO2. Here's what our typical, sorry about this, but this is a typical VMware screen. And all I need to show you here is, there's our 4 boxes. And this is one typical box. This is Oracle, and this is what it's running. Now, what it's running can vary at any time. Stuff bounces around between servers. You see little messages come up on the bottom. You never see any glitch in the service, but a server can move from one box to another and bounce around. So that's the typical density that we're running, and we average about 15% processor use. Memory is fairly heavy, but that's the kind of environment we've built. So this is what a couple of months ago we managed to stuff VMCD into as well. That's our journey in real figures. So when we started with all this, we had lots and lots of tin, email servers, our file and print server, all of that sort of stuff, dirty great database server, finance servers, everything. We started virtualizing, we pulled everything down to just 4 boxes, doing most of the stuff, kept the database server there, and then we went to blades and further condensed it. So what we've managed to do is rack space, 25 U's down to 11 U, 3,000 watts down to 1,000 watts, so a third of the power going in there. And this, 10,481 BTU down to 4,300, is also a representation of power because you've got to take that heat away as well. So we've made a substantial saving in electricity costs, and we buy green electricity anyway, so the CO2 figures are a bit skewed, but that electricity is now available for somebody else to use. The stuff that we've saved. Because we were so confident with virtualization in general, when Ian Ashwood suggested back in January, he said, why not virtualize your MCD as well? Really? And we thought about it, and we thought it was a good idea. And so last time I studied, it's something about the 13th.
It is.
What's it about the 13th? Friday the 13th of May is when we went live, so we've had the system for 2 months now.
I think it's because it's lucky for us. So.
And we switched all 5 sites to SIP trunks. We had ISDN 30 circuits and horrible feature lines in some of our branch offices. And we brought all of that into SIP trunks, pushed it into virtual MCDs, 2 separate sites with MCDs on them, so we've got resilience there. And at the same time, we made everybody a hot desk user, which freaked them out a bit, because we made them all log into the phones, and we've got them steadily getting used to logging into phones so that they can move around. And we put a new point advanced voicemail in, which a couple of weeks ago we got that synced into Microsoft Exchange, and scarily now, when you log into your voicemail, it says you have 2 new voicemails and 8,000 emails, which is very scary. And I'm pleased to say it all went completely smoothly. The only scary bit was getting BT to repoint the numbers, which they will only do in office hours, which is really nice. So we opted for a Friday morning because that's when everybody's in, because Friday's the new Saturday now. Friday morning, first thing, BT started working, and I think most of the numbers had been switched by lunchtime, so we had a morning of downtime on the phones effectively. But we did all 5 sites in that, and all 5 sites had handsets logged in, ready, and calls started coming in as soon as the phone was switched over. The drivers of virtualizing, we talked a lot about virtualization already, but also on that list was SIP trunks. You can't virtualize on an old school platform, so we were looking to get away anybody from the from BT lines because they were a single point of failure. It's very hard for them to reroute your calls around and go from place to place if you're locked into old ISDN lines. And so we achieved some flexibility with that. And now I can get a body from my Scottish office. He can wander into that Godalming office and he can log into his phone and he's receiving calls as normal. Scarily, you can actually get switchboards from different sites to log in there as well, which is quite weird because they're now patching calls through to one another. There were a couple of considerations along the way. Our phone system was plugged into UPSs which stayed running when the power went down, but they shut down our server farm. Now we've put our virtualized phone system into our server farm, we've got to keep servers up. So what we've done in do this in VMware is created an affinity between the virtual servers, the Mitel virtual servers, and one of the blades. And now we shut down 3 of the blades, chuck everything off of that blade that isn't actually doing anything other than our phone system, and we can still maintain a 24-hour uptime on the when the power goes down, because that's written into our SLA to our users. But that took some head scratching and some how do we get one server shut down and all the others, 3 servers shut down, one stays up. Traffic management was also an issue as well. We had to work with Telstra, who are our MPLS provider, to get a full quality of service implementation on that. Because we're running handsets now in every one of our offices, but we have a centralized Mitel box, and so you need quality of service between the sites. So you need to include that in your budget. It turned out to be quite a lot for us, but we're now looking at ways we can reduce that, and we've got ideas to look at like and things as well. This whole process was very much a partnership, and I'm very grateful to Britannic while I'm standing up here in front of them for all of their assistance on this. We had Bonnie working on our site practically every day for a couple of weeks and doing the programming on the system. There wasn't a single button on any handset from the old system to the new that didn't get carried across. And we worked closely together. It was like Bonnie was part of the IT team for a little while. It was very good. And Britannic worked closely with Telstra as well to set up the quality of service and the kind of things we needed there. We also had a data pop connection into Britannic's NetX. And we're already getting bills through from Britannic now, not BT, and we're already seeing cost reduction. We held up the first bill and went, that's visibly smaller, so their call costs have gone down. A lot of this work that we're doing, a lot of the virtualization of desktops and a lot of the virtualization of the phone system and upgrading the phone system so that we can do new stuff with it, is all heading towards a common cause, a common idea. It's recently been announced that WWF is moving to a new office in 2 years' time. We're going to change the way we work when we go to that office. I got the ump when I was told about this because they said, you've got to get yourself in shape for the new office. I'm in shape already. But it's very much a change in the way that we work completely. We're going to hot desk, we're going to do all kinds of things. We're going to have a smaller building than we are now and reduce our occupancy and move people around. The office goes live sometime in mid-2013. These are the architect pictures of it. It's going to be in Woking in Surrey, which is already a green town, lots of cycle paths and all sorts of things that they're setting up there. And it's going to be BREEAM outstanding, if any of you know the sort of building regulations, environmental measurements. This is what it's going to look like inside. And we've got breakout areas. We've got banks of desks under there and on top. We've got gardens along the edge of it with seating areas. The whole thing is going to be filled with next generation wireless, so you can up from your desk, you can wander outside and you can sit down. Key to that is knowing where you are and being able to contact you. So unified comms, presence, that sort of stuff is very important. one number communications. You don't want to be chasing somebody around with every number they've ever possessed, trying to work out whether they're at home, in the building, on their mobile, whatever. So that's a key to the success of this building. And BDI as well, so that they can up sticks, move to another desk, log in, work with partners on a particular project, and still maintain their desktop identity as they go around. So that's pretty much my experience of virtualization over the last sort of 5 or 6 years, and then integrating the phone system into that, and also taking that forward to a new office. Yeah, any questions?
Just one point, if your VRE credited outstanding, you've got a single mobile phone signal in the building, I can vouch for that. So be warned.
There's a lot of glass in it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how we're getting Brian
All Radio
and
3.
glass.
You won't get the cricket on Radio 3.
I shall feed that back. That might have an effect, the mobile phone thing.
On a virtual basis, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What are you using for your desktop virtualization? When you plan to roll that out?
It's a new project we are piloting at the moment. We are almost certainly going through Citrix ZApp and Zen Desktop. The application delivery components, we've yet to come up with that. It's actually going a bit wider than just desktop virtualization, because we've got a certain percentage of laptop users as well, and we're looking at a whole project to deliver laptop applications as well. It's up for analysis at the moment, and we've got a trial on to try different applications. The very first thing we've got to do is work out how many applications we've got, and there's somewhere between 50 and 70, which is typical for a kind of organisation as ours, and quite scary, because I wonder what the hell people are doing before. But yeah, that's the process we're going through.
Okay, any more questions for you? Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd say if there are, I'm going to have to scurry off fairly shortly, but if there are any other questions, hand out my email address.
Will do. Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. So, it's been an interesting journey. I think we've covered quite a lot of ground there today. We've looked at the changing marketplace. We've looked at some new technologies that have come to the fore, and hopefully shared with you not just a vision, but some clear business benefit that can be derived from this changing marketplace and these changing models that we've looked at. We will shortly break for lunch, and then there'll be the opportunity to look at the technology from a hands-on perspective, Mitel's technology, and myself and colleagues will be available throughout the remaining period for any questions and any detailed discussions you'd like to have. And really, from my perspective, I'd just like to summarise by thanking you for your time and in your interest in what we've talked about today. And certainly from our perspective, Britannic is an organisation very well experienced, well founded, and a lot of great technology and innovation that we bring to the market and bring to customers. And it's all built upon a foundation of customer partnerships. So many clients that we work with, we've worked with for many, many years, and we do see and treat and work with customers as partners. And for those of you who don't already work with Britannic, we very much welcome the opportunity to build, establish and develop a partnership together. And these are some of the elements that we've talked through and looked at that we will be able to bring to you through the new technologies, the services and the models that we're delivering. So improved agility, improved management information control, predictability of the technology. Most definitely we can look at how, where and why cost savings can be delivered in this time in which we're looking at funding the next phase of development. We can look at how we can use new applications. So we haven't spent a lot of time talking about unified communications today, and presence and availability technology and collaboration tools, but they will be on show in the demonstration suite, so you'll be able to see how these new types of applications and services can fundamentally change, improve the way in which people are working, engaging both internally and externally. And most definitely the solutions that we are delivering to market. We're spending a lot of time with customers planning these out, putting suitable strategies, programs, migration plans together, and very much focusing on supporting business continuity, availability, and building resilience into the design of the technology that we're delivering today. So it's a hugely exciting time for us, lots of opportunity that presents itself to all of us with the changing face of technology, and we welcome the opportunity of working with you for many years to come. So thank you very much.